5 shocking facts about Nauru that will leave you speechless. Picture an island, isolated, with a population less than most small towns. This island, Nauru, is the 3rd smallest country in the world by land area, surpassed only by the Vatican City and Monaco. Its population, 2nd smallest globally, is a mere fraction of most cities. Nestled in Micronesia, a sub-region of Oceania, Nauru is a lone speck in the vast expanse of the Central Pacific. Intriguing, isn't it? Welcome to Nauru, a country smaller than some airports. But wait, before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my crucial stuff. Comment "I subscribe" below, and I will personally welcome you to our community. Let's get started. Imagine a country built on bird droppings. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? But that's the fascinating tale of Nauru, a tiny island nation in the Pacific. This is a story of a country that turned bird droppings into a gold mine. In the early 20th century, a significant discovery was made on the island. The island's soil was rich in phosphate, a valuable mineral used in fertilizers and other products. And guess what? This phosphate was the result of thousands of years of bird droppings, also known as guano. When this discovery was made, it led to a frenzy of mining activity. The phosphate was extracted from the ground and exported to countries around the world, where it was used to boost agricultural productivity. The revenue from this mining operation brought an economic boom to Nauru. The 1970s and 80s were the heyday of Nauru's phosphate industry. During this time, Nauru, despite its minuscule size, was one of the richest countries in the world per capita. A small island with a population of just a few thousand people was generating wealth that could rival much larger nations. Nauru's phosphate wealth led to a rapid modernization of the island. Buildings sprang up, roads were built, and the standard of living improved dramatically. The islanders, who had once lived a simple life, were now enjoying the benefits of a booming economy. But as we all know, nothing lasts forever. The phosphate reserves began to dwindle, and so did the wealth. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's marvel at the extraordinary tale of Nauru, a country that managed to turn bird droppings into a gold mine. A country that, against all odds, became one of the richest in the world, thanks to a resource that most would dismiss as waste. Nauru, a country that literally struck gold, or rather, struck phosphate. From riches to rags, Nauru's story is a cautionary tale. A tale that unfolds a tragic shift from prosperity to hardship. It's a story that starts with a gold mine. Not of gold, but of phosphate. Nauru was once a place of abundance. Its wealth derived from vast reserves of phosphate. This natural resource, a key ingredient in fertilizers, was profusely in demand worldwide. The island nation, though small in size, was a giant in the phosphate industry, supplying a significant chunk of the world's demand. The revenue generated from this trade brought affluence and a high standard of living for its inhabitants. However, the phosphate reserves were not infinite. They began to dwindle, and with it Nauru's fortunes. The once flourishing economy started to falter as the phosphate reserves depleted. The land, stripped of its valuable resource, was left barren and unable to sustain agriculture. The island's wealth, just like its phosphate, was slowly ebbing away. The government, in a bid to sustain the country's economy, embarked on numerous investments. However, these were often poorly chosen and ill-advised. An airline, hotels in the Pacific and Australia, real estate in Melbourne, all bought in a hurried attempt to diversify the country's income. Unfortunately, these ventures failed to bring the desired return on investment. The financial decisions, instead of saving the sinking economy, hastened its downfall. The combination of depleted resources and failed investments led to a dire economic crisis. The country, once one of the wealthiest in the world per capita, spiraled into poverty. Today, Nauru is one of the poorest nations globally, heavily dependent on aid. Its people, once affluent, now grapple with unemployment and a high cost of living. Nauru, a stark reminder of the perils of putting all your eggs, or in this case, all your phosphate, in one basket. This island nation's tale serves as a grim reminder that natural resources are finite and that diversification and sound economic planning are vital for a country's long-term prosperity. Before we continue, can I beg a little favor? If you're liking what you're hearing, show us some love by pressing that like button. And hey, if you want to be in the loop for our fantastic upcoming videos, make sure to press subscribe and ring that bell so you're always in the know. Oh, and one more thing, drop a quick "I subscribe" down in the comments, and I'll make sure to offer you a warm welcome to our amazing family. All right, enough of that. Let's keep the conversation flowing. A country sinking under its own weight, a statement as grave as it is literal. Nauru is grappling with a health crisis that's as heavy as the people it affects. Among all the nations of the world, Nauru stands out, but not for reasons to be proud of. It bears the dubious distinction of having the highest obesity rate in the world. Yes, you heard that right. Over 70% of its population is considered obese, a statistic that is as alarming as it is saddening. Why, you may ask, is this so? The answer lies in a combination of factors, a significant one being the transition from traditional, locally sourced diets to imported processed foods. Once a nation of fishermen and farmers, Nauru's food landscape has drastically changed over the decades. The majority of food now comes in cans and packages, loaded with sugars, fats and artificial additives. Healthy, fresh produce is a rarity rather than a norm. And then there's the issue of physical inactivity. With modernization came convenience, but at a cost. The traditional physically demanding lifestyles have given way to sedentary ones. Cars have replaced walking and manual labor has been swapped with desk jobs. This drastic shift in lifestyle, coupled with the unhealthy diet, has led to this escalating health crisis. It's not just about the numbers on the scale, though. The impact of obesity extends beyond physical health. It strains the nation's healthcare system, eats into its economy, and most importantly, it shortens lives. Diabetes, heart disease, stroke, these are the grim reapers that shadow the lives of Nauru's inhabitants, cutting them short prematurely. The government has taken note and initiatives are underway to address this issue. But changing a nation's habits is no easy task. It requires a shift in mindset, a return to traditional diets, and a re-evaluation of lifestyle choices. Nauru, a country battling a health crisis of monumental proportions. A crisis that's not just about the weight of the body, but the weight of a nation, the weight of a future that hangs in the balance. A country turned into a human warehouse. Imagine a tiny island nation once known for its phosphate riches, now infamous for a completely different reason. This is Nauru, a nation caught in a web of controversy, its identity intertwined with a contentious refugee detention centre. In the early 2000s, Australia struck a deal with Nauru to set up an offshore detention centre. This decision, made in the wake of rising asylum seeker arrivals, was marketed as an attempt to discourage dangerous sea voyages. However, the reality of the situation was far more complex and far less humane. The detention centre in Nauru has been a hotbed of human rights concerns. The centre, essentially an open-air prison, houses refugees, including children, under conditions that have been described as inhumane and unbearable. Reports have emerged of inadequate medical facilities, mental health crises, and even self-harm incidents. International organizations have repeatedly raised concerns about the centre. The United Nations, Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have all called out the Australian government for its blatant disregard for human rights. They've highlighted the desperation and despair felt by those trapped within the centre's walls, painting a grim picture of life in detention. Yet despite the international outcry, the centre continues to operate. The Australian government maintains that its harsh policies are necessary to deter people smugglers. However, critics argue that this stance is a convenient cover for a policy that is fundamentally inhumane and unjust. Nauru, once a paradise lost to phosphate mining, has become the unlikely stage for a global debate on refugee rights. It's a debate that raises uncomfortable questions about our collective responsibility towards those fleeing persecution and war. It's a debate that forces us to confront the very notion of what it means to be human. Nauru, a country at the center of a heated global debate. It's a debate that, regardless of where you stand, is a stark reminder of the complex, often heartbreaking realities of our interconnected world. 5 facts, one unique island nation. That's Nauru for you. A tiny spot on the world map, but one that holds a history as complex as its phosphate-laden grounds. Nauru, the world's smallest independent republic, is a testament to the fact that size doesn't always dictate significance. This small island might be just over 20 square kilometers in size, but its story is larger than life. Once a phosphate gold mine, Nauru prospered, with its citizens enjoying a lifestyle many could only dream of. But as the phosphate deposits dwindled, so did the nation's wealth. The economic downfall was steep, and the once prosperous nation fell into financial hardship. Then we have the weight of a nation. Nauru has one of the highest obesity rates on the planet. This health crisis is a stark reminder that prosperity can sometimes come with a hefty price tag. Finally, we come to the Refugee Controversy. Nauru has been embroiled in controversy over its agreement with Australia to host an offshore processing centre for refugees. This move has attracted international attention and criticism, adding another layer to Nauru's complex narrative. Nauru, a tiny island with a big story, a story of riches, downfall, resilience and controversy. This little island has certainly left us speechless, and we hope it's left you with a lot to ponder as well.